Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney together on stage. Who would have thunk it? The stakes starts now. Good evening and welcome to The Stakes. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is Michelle Kinney, co-founder of the SENECA Project, and we've got a show for you tonight.
So many things.
So many things. This is our second time with you guys this week, which is exciting. We get to hang out with everybody and give our thoughts on stuff because we've got thoughts and there's so much going on. Earlier this week, we talked, we did a post-debate show. And we introduced the world to our new National Press Secretary, Mallory Hagan. And, the debate, the most important part of the debate was it did no harm. And Tim Walz's best moments, in our opinion, were about women's rights and the defense of our rights and democracy, the January 6th conversation. And who would have known that would have coincided perfectly with Jack Smith and his filing, the epic filing, and Judge Chutkan letting it go. So you got Judge Chutkan saying, yep, we're going to unseal this. God bless them. All 160 plus pages of reminding the American people of what a traitorous bastard Donald Trump actually is. And a lot of it we knew already from the January 6th committee, but there was a lot of new information in there too, more specific nuggets about things. Yep. And I'm telling you, Trump had a meltdown, and rightfully so, because he doesn't want the American people thinking about this, right? He doesn't want it.
No. I have some headlines from this. Should I hold on to them?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's hold on to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second because let's give it the time it deserves. Let's talk Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris first, though.
Love it.
That just happened before we came on air, and I tweeted that I may have gotten a little emotional watching it. I didn't expect that, but I think Liz Cheney did too. Did you see her in the beginning when she came out to the crowd? And she started.
I didn't see all of it because I was, prepping for the show and whatnot. But Joe was yelling to me from the other room, and he's like, "You have to turn this on. You have to turn this on." And so then I, had it on my phone, and I think when I did hear the crowd start to chant, "Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Liz," and she said, "Thank you."
I can't say why, but my family has had some interaction in time, has spent time with the Cheneys, and they're not exactly the most emo people. Right. So they're no nonsense, right? Business. All business all the time. And to see Liz Cheney, I think we also saw that during the January 6th hearings too, where she was not messing around, and she was stoic, but with righteous anger. And all business.
Yep.
This though, and I kind of feel her on this as someone who was a Republican for 27 years, almost 30 years, that to stand there in the birthplace of the Republican Party
in Ripon, Wisconsin.
I didn't realize that's where they were going to be today because it's been, it's been busy. We've been a little busy, folks. And when I turned it on, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, perfect symbolism of this. For people who are on the fence, right? The Republicans, the right of center people that we speak to, some of those, to see that imagery, to understand the history, and then for Liz Cheney to stand on stage side by side with Kamala Harris, people who are complete polar opposites in their political ideology and careers, to come together, not only in service of their country, but as women. And all the feels in that moment, it got to me, and I think it got to her because I know I'm not crazy.
There were definitely some moments that I started to choke up, and I was brushing my hair and putting makeup on really fast when I was watching it, and I started to notice my eyes start to well up, and I was like, no.
Right. I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Yeah. And again, I guess I kind of just felt her because I'm like, I've been there. I know, like, this, I keep saying this a lot, that this is a surreal moment for me personally, just all of it. I said that
Yeah,
at the DNC, right? Like, I was like, this is just, it's crazy, because I never would have imagined that we'd all be here now
of
for
course.
multiple reasons. But you know what? There's no place I'd rather be. There's no fight that I would rather be in with all of you, because this means so much. Our country, we have not seen anything like this, the threat to our country since the Civil War. And that's real. And I think
Yeah,
Liz really felt that too. And some of
yeah.
the comments that she made, for those who did not see it. And I know, we don't have the clips of what Kamala Harris said, which she gave a hell of a speech too.
She did.
Really, again, just leaning into the importance of democracy, how Donald Trump violated his oath of office, and how he should never stand behind the presidential seal again. Like, it gives me chills thinking about it, because that's really what's at stake here. It's freaking not about marginal tax rates, damn it. But, people are going to be people, and things are going to be important to them. But none of that matters if we don't have a democracy and freedom. So,
That's right.
but we do have some clips of what Liz Cheney said, and I
We
think
do.
it's worth showing.
Yes, it is.
In other words, I was a Republican even before Donald Trump started spray tanning. I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat. But this year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. Thank you. But mostly, we're not going back. Vice President Harris has dedicated her life to public service. I know that she loves our country, and I know that she will be a president for all Americans. As a conservative, as a patriot, as a mother, as someone who reveres our Constitution, I am honored to join her in this urgent cause. It is Donald Trump's closest aides who also told us this. They said that while the attack on our Capitol was happening, Donald Trump was handed a note informing him that a civilian had been shot at the door to the chamber of the United States House of Representatives. Donald Trump put the note down on the table in front of him, continued to watch the attack on television, and still refused to tell the mob to leave the Capitol. Donald Trump was willing to sacrifice our Capitol to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name, and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself. I don't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. That is depravity, and we must never become numb to it. I know that President Harris will be able to unite this nation. I know that she will be a president who will defend the rule of law. And I know that she will be a president who can inspire all of our children, and if I might say so, especially our little girls. To do great things. So help us right the ship of our democracy so that history will say of us, when our time of testing came, we did our duty and we prevailed because we loved our country more.
Man,
doesn't get much better than.
Oh my gosh. Look, she's right. I mean, she's right. However, differences aside, and this is the ball game. This is what it's about, and it's quite the moment. And Donald Trump and his MAGA folks, they're just melting down, like legit melting down this week over all of it. And this was kind of like a 1-2 punch for this week. You had the reminder that JD Vance is better than him and makes MAGA look more palatable. Not saying that's a good thing, but that's a threat to Donald Trump because it renders him irrelevant, and it shows that MAGA can continue without him. Nobody likes that. Trump doesn't like not being the center of attention. So we know he doesn't like that. And then the Jack Smith stuff. And now you have Liz Cheney out here with the freaking right hook about this, reminding the American people of everything that's going on. Brilliant.
Just brilliant. And to the point of JD Vance and him being better at this than Donald Trump is.
Yep.
I know you and I talked about that this week, that if I were putting together an audience of one message to Donald Trump, I would remind him of his own age, his feebleness, his health. I mean, he's almost 80 years old. And I would remind him that maybe JD Vance cannot be trusted. Who's to say when you win that, he won't invoke the 25th Amendment? JD Vance has been a shapeshifter his entire adult life. Who's to say he won't do it again? Because if he's just one heartbeat away from the presidency, what's stopping him?
It's very House of Cards and plausible, because JD Vance he's been a political chameleon to fit in. And how do we know this? Well, there's a lot of video evidence of it. And when from his Never Trump days to running for Senate, and then comments that he made about women, and we know it's all on video. In this era, it's like you're not going to escape your past.
And he loves going on podcasts.
Yes, these bro-y podcasts,
right?
Where you can, bro out with these incels that hate women, and they're all kikiing together about what they're going to do, and how we're only worth our uteruses and whether we're fertile. It's insane.
Right.
But something happened today with the Wayback Machine. I this morning see a message from Michelle that says, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Oh God, that could mean a lot of things."
Right.
So I open it up, and it's why don't we show folks?
Here we go.
Says ridiculous things out of his mouth, like, you're going to get shot if you walk down the street, or calls African Americans the African Americans. I mean, what else the messenger matters. How you present that message matters to people, because they're not going to hear you. You could say all the wonderful things in the world, but if they think that you're a bigot, you can forget about it. And that's where Donald Trump is.
JD,
I think real quick, Don.
Go JD first. Go ahead, JD.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor.
Yeah, well, I think that's absolutely right. It's not just that Donald Trump doesn't speak to issues of special concern to minority voters or black voters. It's that he seems to like actively antagonizing a lot of the black vote. Unfortunately, that's been the Republican Party strategy for 30 years. I say that as a Republican who wants the party to get more black voters, and Trump seems to be taking that strategy just to the next level, and it shows in the polls, right? He's not going to do especially well on Election Day.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So,
what?
Okay. Which part is the what? What he said?
I mean,
what he looked like?
Both.
I mean,
both.
I'll be
First of all,
petty.
he looks 12.
Yes.
He looks like he's running for junior high class president. And this is where, and like at the end of that, I mean, just the apparently this is the Republican Party strategy, is just to alienate black voters.
Right.
This is where I would do like a Kamala Harris, like, look to the
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just so, again, proving that he does not believe in anything. Nothing.
No, nothing. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, so this was pre-eyeliner. And also, I, of course, looking at myself 8 years ago, I'm like, what was the makeup artist thinking? The foundation
You
was
look
awful,
great.
I appreciate that, but I'm like, ew. I wish my hair was still that long, but I don't miss the color. So much better colorist now. But what I said still applies. It still applies. And my good friend, former mayor of Philadelphia, Michael Nutter, was on that panel, and god awful Paris Denard, who just Google that guy. I mean, people were making fun of Brian Lanza with me on CNN 2 weeks ago, almost. It was last week. It wasn't 2 weeks ago. Jesus, it was just last Wednesday.
Was it really? Oh
it was just last Wednesday. I don't know what week it is. But people were putting memes when I snatched his soul on CNN.
It was good.
Going to task with him on the immigration stuff and the lies. Let me tell you, Paris Denard, I destroyed him in 2016 and 2017 every time we were on camera together because he was such a duplicitous sellout, particularly on the issue of Charlottesville. And when Charlottesville happened, he tried to defend it, and I again snatched the indefensible. That was it. That was actually the moment where I stopped giving Trump supporters grace, because I gave people some grace in 2016 and early 2017 who thought
a lot of us did.
Yeah, a lot of people thought
understand them and like where they were coming from, and like maybe they'll come back to reality. Listen, I think that's around the time that I bought JD Vance's book.
Probably. Yeah, Hillbilly Elegy came out. I mean, I was like, okay, let me try to understand this. I don't get it, but let me try.
Right.
And then, people thought, well, maybe he'll grow into the job and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, he's not, but okay. And after Charlottesville, I was like, I'm done. I am done with you people. And if you don't see, because at that point, what was that, August of 2017? We had the firing of Comey. Yeah. We had the Russians in the Oval Office.
Oh my God.
There was all kinds of shit that had already happened by then.
Right.
And I was like, no. So, but yeah, just a little blast from the past there. But again, it highlights what a nihilist JD Vance is. And that, like, you want to trust this guy? You're going to trust this guy to be a heartbeat away from the presidency, making decisions about you and your family? No. We say no.
We say
no, but
no.
That's right. No.
And, again, back to the debate where he was asked, did Donald Trump, I forget exactly what the question was, but it was like,
did Donald Trump lose?
Yeah. And he was like, listen, I'm looking forwards, not backwards. And I'm like, it's a simple question.
Right.
And Tim Walz was like, that was a damning non-answer.
Yes, it was. That is the moment. Right. Yeah. We don't remember shit from the 2020 VP election except for debates for two moments. The fly and the I'm speaking.
Right.
That was it.
His weird red eye. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes. Well,
I knew some people in the room that had theories about what was going on.
Oh, well.
They thought he was sick.
Yeah. Well, Trump was. So. Exactly. I don't know, that wasn't exactly like they were taking their proper vaccines and things. And
no,
well, some were and lying about it, but that's another conversation.
Right.
But that's it. Well, the moment that we remember from this debate was the damning non-answer and JD Vance trying to weasel his way out of convincing the American people that women should trust them and the Trump presidency. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And while he wouldn't answer that question about whether or not Donald Trump lost or won the 2020 election, my friends over at The Good Liars have a video. I don't know exactly when it's from, maybe like a year or two ago. But they asked him this, and they got an answer out of him. And I'll go ahead and play that right now.
Who won the 2020 election? Could you just answer? Did Donald Trump win? Yes or no?
Yes,
he did win.
Yep.
So will you concede? Will you concede? If your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
I really feel bad for you, man.
I just want to know, if your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
Party.
simple question, but he can't say the real truth because then his master will be very upset with him. And the MAGAs will,
mad.
Right. And the MAGAs will, I don't know, set up a gallows for him next time if he doesn't comply. I mean, let's be honest. That's why he's saying this. He knows damn well Donald Trump lost the election just like everybody else. And we saw the conspiracy and the lengths to which people went through to tell Donald Trump that he lost and Donald Trump denying it. It's all in the 160 plus pages of the Jack Smith filing. And you know, it's all there. We all know, but that should be disqualifying in and of itself. Not only will he not acknowledge it, but he also said, which I don't think we have that clip, but it's out there. You can Google it. He said that he would not have certified the election the way Mike Pence did. He said he would have sent it back to the states for alternative electors. That should scare the shit out of everyone, everyone. So, yeah, I mean, it's there. And the good liars, Michelle is friends with them because you went to college with them, right?
I went to college with Jason Selvig.
The tall one.
We were both theater majors at Syracuse University. And it's just funny how both have kind of ended up in this space in different ways. And, you know, we also went to school with Josh Lederman, who is a reporter for NBC. He ended up transferring, but like, it's just crazy how this is kind of the place that we are. And we're, you know, contributing to this moment in history in our own ways with our own set of skills. And if you don't already follow the Good Liars, please go find them.
Please.
They are the most fearless individuals in your face. I mean, Jason too, it helps that he's like 6'2", right? I mean, that, you know, to be able to go into places like that, but they have been able to squirm into these spaces where if you're an advanced person or a staffer, like, I don't know how you don't have a picture of him outside, like Pete Wells, the New York Times food critic. I remember in the kitchen of the 21 Club, I was in there, saw the picture of him, and it was like, if you see this man, let us know. Like, I don't know why there isn't one of those of Jason Selvig and DeVrom, his partner. It's crazy. But anyways, they make their way into these spaces and make trouble, and it's fantastic.
Yes, they are.
A very long time.
They have. God bless them. I don't know how they have the stamina and how they just keep their cool because I mean, I don't know if they do shots before or what, but they do this and they bring it to us so we don't have to.
And listen, Jordan Klepper goes to these MAGA rallies with like security.
Yeah,
like,
he has to.
Several security, and I don't think Jason and DeVrom have that. So they're really kind of going in just, you know, with hope and a prayer.
That's right. Hope and a prayer and doing it in service of the country to bring us the information and show us, because a lot of that batshittery, people don't do it the way they do. And they put it out there and they're just like, and they ask the questions and they do it in such a methodical way. They're great. So shout out to the Good Liars. The other thing too about this and about what's going on this week, as we were saying with the Jack Smith stuff, I mean, well, first of all, I predicted that Liz Cheney would come out and endorse Kamala in October.
Yeah,
a lot of people were right. A lot of people were
a little on the fence. I didn't know she would, but
I mean, I knew that she would wait until it had maximum effect.
Yeah.
And that's now when people we're in the final
paying
5
attention.
weeks, people are paying attention. It's not too early where people forget about it. It's not early like the summertime or like, that's why she didn't speak at the DNC.
Right.
Because then it's
which I think was the right choice.
I agree. It was the right choice. Let Adam Kinzinger do that. Liz Cheney was the bigger name and the bigger get. And then let's do it when all eyes are on her.
Right.
A couple of weeks before the election, voting has already started in some places. So the timing of this was smart. And you can add this to the October surprises. We're only the 3 days into October.
Surprise.
Oh my God. Do you have it?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. You should have. We should have played it. Oh my God. It was hysterical. So when the Jack Smith news dropped, Michelle did this meme and posted it with the surprise lady. And if you guys,
oh my God, I don't
know how else to say it.
It's well, because you know what? Can October even surprise anymore? Like apparently it can. And I think it's just going to be 31 days of spooky season.
Look, I am going to speak at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco in 2 weeks. And this is the theme. The theme is October's like, will there be any, and will they matter? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And, when I first got the invite, I was like, well, I hope so, because and I hope so. It's like good for us.
Right.
I mean, we've already got a bunch. These are catastrophic in any other election cycle. It's par for the course now.
Right. And so I'll start with the special counsel headline we have here. Obviously, we've been talking about that. And, I feel like we knew that it was possibly going to happen. It was just a matter of when and how much we were going to find out. There's been quite a bit in there. And if you've been watching MSNBC and CNN, there's been a lot of legal analysts in there like walking us through that. Yep. I'm obviously not an attorney, so I wouldn't be able to speak to a lot of the ins and outs of it, but it's pretty damning. And I would say that part of this also that I thought was crazy. As rioters stormed the Capitol with Pence inside, Trump allegedly said, "So what?"
That infuriated me on so many levels. The callousness, the indifference, the depravity, to use a Liz Cheney word. Mm-hmm. So what?
Yeah.
How can you be that damaged and that deranged that you see what was going on with our Capitol and basically got off on it, right? And find out that the vice president's life was in danger, and he's like, so what? We knew that he said he deserved it, right? Wasn't it Cassidy Hutchinson who basically said that he was like,
well, maybe he deserves it,
right?
And like they all knew. I mean, and that's another part of this is like the Steve Bannon role and all of this, the Giuliani role and all of this was bigger, and then I think even we had imagined and more planned out. They knew. Yes. They knew all of this. And I think it's like that part of premeditated insurrection that is really the most damning. And this also, and just like no remorse.
None. Because he's a fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand how people don't see this. It's like, and the premeditation of it all, that destroys the narrative that it was some spontaneous riot that went awry, a spontaneous protest that went awry. No, it wasn't.
He said, "Let them riot." Sorry, I don't know what's going on outside today, but but it's let them riot.
Yeah, he wanted it.
Yeah,
they knew what they were doing. That's why, I think it also said in here, it verified that there was a phone call placed between Trump and Steve Bannon hours before Steve Bannon said that they were going to fight like hell and it was going to be wild.
Yep.
So it was all coordinated. They were ginning people up. And our good friend Denver Riggleman on our advisory board, he worked on the technical committee, that he was the technical advisor, him and his team. That's what he does. He is a professional data analyst and analyzes all kinds of stuff from, national security stuff. You would never know it as huggable and lovable as Denver is, but he is a badass. And the January 6th committee hired him and his company to basically be the technical advisors to extrapolate all that data. And he told me, he's like, I'm telling you, you guys have not seen the millions and millions and millions of lines of data that we have. There is more. And there were some politics within the committee that didn't want to release some of that stuff because they didn't want to distract from Trump. But especially with the financial road of where a lot of that money came from, some folks in the committee put the kibosh on that. They didn't want to go off there, which is very frustrating, which is why he wrote his book, but called The Breach. But anyway, But I
remember Denver saying in an interview once that there was a phone call made from one of the rioters to the White House.
Yep.
And that he knows whose phone it was, at the Capitol, but they don't know who was on the other end of it. They don't know who picked up the phone at the White House. So there's all kinds of.
I need to talk to Denver. I'm glad you brought that up. I need to call him tomorrow and ask him, because he may know now based off of what's you can kind of put a lot of the pieces together, put the dots
there's
together.
like a key. I saw on Twitter that they were kind of putting together who's P5 and who's
because they redacted names. Yeah, but you can figure it out based on context.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's really remarkable. And like I said, shout out to Jack Smith and Judge Chutkin for getting this out there for the good of the American people. If the Supreme Court's going to fuck shit up and not let us have a trial beforehand because of their insane immunity ruling, then this was the next best thing for the public to have a sense of what the government's case was.
And I even saw that Fox News was reporting on some of it. I mean, like, there's
Neil Cavuto.
Yeah, I mean, right.
He's the only one that didn't completely go MAGA.
Right.
Yeah.
And that and Jessica, what's her face, who's
Tarlo, but she's a Dem.
Yeah,
she's a
Democrat. I mean, she's on the 5. I don't know.
God bless her. I don't either. I hope they pay her well, because
I truly hope so. I don't know that there would be enough money.
No,
I think I
would swing on them. I would swing on Jesse Waters and Greg, the other one, the little midget. What's his name? Greg. Whatever.
His name.
Yeah, but
one on the end.
Yeah,
who thinks he's funny?
Yeah,
not funny.
Which he's not.
No.
Anyway,
he used to have that show on Fox that was on really late at night.
Yeah, the late night show. I don't know why his name is escaping me right now. But
I don't know either.
His annoying face, punchable.
I know who he is, and I can't think.
Me too. I don't know why.
Somebody in the comments.
Gutfeld.
There we go.
Gutfeld. Thank you. Thank you.
I was like, somebody I know is going to be.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah. So, a couple other things that have gone on this week, and one last thing on the January 6th thing. Giuliani, did you see Rudy Giuliani's daughter on CNN? I think it was last night. That was, if people haven't seen it, go back and find it. She did this incredible interview with Erin Burnett last night. She came out, I think it was in Vanity Fair, right? She wrote she wrote an op-ed about why she's speaking out and supporting Kamala Harris and the disappointment and the hurt that she lost her father to MAGA.
Yeah.
And I was like, a lot of us have lost friends and family, man. And there really is no limit to that. There's no limit. And
there really isn't.
She asked her about how she feels about her father possibly going to prison over this, and the agony that it's caused their family, what he's become. And I give her a lot of credit. I give Giuliani's daughter a lot of credit for speaking out publicly like this, because I'm sure it brought threats to her.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't
within the family too. I mean, I'm sure being told,
her brother,
you don't do that to family, but I think that listen, it's hard enough as it is to stand up for what's right when that person is powerful, when that powerful person is your father.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. I really can't.
Well, not so powerful anymore.
Well, maybe not anymore.
Not anymore.
And broke and disbarred.
Not so much anymore. But powerful people who he was surrounded by. That's right. And not easy. So kudos to her. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's pretty intense. All right, buttoning that up. The next thing is Trump, I believe this week, was whining and complaining, saying crazy shit and looking awful.
Looking real bad.
He is. He just doesn't look well. He's unwell. I mean, we've known he's unwell for a long time.
Very leathery.
I don't know what's happening with the shoe leather thing that he's putting on his face. It's getting worse. But he has really gone on some pretty crazy rants, and the polling is just showing that the gender gap is just continuing to go like this. Continuing to go like this. Because women are looking at this and going, no, we don't believe you. They didn't believe JD Vance during the debate. Right. We showed the graphic on Tuesday night that the abortion issue was the most Googled issue during the debate.
Yep.
More so than the economy or healthcare or anything else. It was abortion across the whole country.
Yep.
They don't believe him. And Trump is out here, insulting Kamala Harris, saying that she was born mentally impaired. Again, projecting. Always. And it's just the gender gap is just going like this.
I mean, it's just, listen, white women are still, I think it's like a 53% situation, which is just like,
I know.
I don't know sometimes what to even say. At what point?
I know.
And I like to remind people, and if anyone's listening who you have women in your life who you're having a hard time getting through to, remind them that your whiteness is not going to save you with what these men have planned for all of us. It's not going to save you. It's not going to matter your socioeconomic position in this country. We will all be in dire straits. We will all lose our rights. There will be no place to escape to. It will be all 50 states. And I don't think anyone is truly prepared for the horror that we will endure. And not just us, but all the women and girls who come after us. This is our moment to make a difference. This is our moment to make sure that our voices are heard. And this is our moment to show up at the voting booth and make our private decision in that voting booth with our ballot. That is our choice, our ballot, our choice. You don't need to tell anybody who you're voting for. Doesn't matter if you voted for Donald Trump 1 time, 2 times. It just matters that you don't vote for him again. And you can go back to your life of thinking all the conservative things that you want to. But we have a moment right now where we really have to save and preserve what we have. So I hope that, y'all will continue to have those tough conversations because they are really hard to have. But if we can't have them now, what good is any of it?
That's right. It's the urgency of the moment. Liz Cheney said it. We have said it. Kamala Harris has said it. I think that we understand the assignment. We just have to make sure that we get others who are still unsure. They need to understand the assignment, especially the white women. Come on, white ladies.
And I know white women who are going to vote for Donald Trump. I don't understand it. And these are just normal people who aren't crazy. These aren't people who are going to rallies or anything like this. And some of which have daughters. And it's just, my taxes. I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
It's right. First of all, Donald Trump can't with a wand just say, cut your taxes. No. It goes through Congress, people. So I can't. I just can't.
Not to mention, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Goldman Sachs has come out and said Kamala Harris's plan is a better plan for us economically than Donald Trump's.
Yes.
Donald Trump and his tariff plan will send us into a spiral.
Yes.
And I don't know why people aren't listening to that. Goldman
why?
Sachs isn't exactly known for their liberal ideologies.
No. But my theory is it's because they actually there's a part of them that actually likes what Donald Trump is saying and doing.
Oh, yeah.
And they use the economy and that as cover. That's what it is, because you cannot possibly, if you think that Donald Trump is unfit to be president of the United States and look at everything he's done and say that character matters and still vote for him.
Yep.
Obviously, just admit it. Don't bullshit me and say, well, it's the economy. Fuck you, man. No, listen. Admit it. You like it because you have some grievance or you might have some bigotry or whatever, or cognitive dissonance is your jam. Right. Then just admit it. And that's fine. But don't try to sit there and say that it's because of some policy reason.
Yeah.
You're freaking voting for Donald Trump at this point.
It's a lie. And, I think at the end of the day, I think, the original sin of this country is some very deeply rooted racism.
Absolutely.
And I think that this will continue to be a problem. I don't know how we fix it because it's such a part of the fabric of the formation of this country. But all we can do is continue to make sure that we're aware and we're trying to do the right thing and we're trying to make the right choices that work for all of us, not just some of us.
Yes, and that we work toward the ideal of what the American dream represents. And so, it's to work toward a more perfect union as it goes. Speaking of fake white women, you know where I'm going.
I do. I really do.
The fucking Christmas. The Christmas. I don't even want to talk about her.
Who gives a shit about the children?
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about her. But
we have to.
We have to.
Because it really does pertain to the conversation that we're having right now about white women and about who Donald Trump knows that he's losing. He's 20 points down in that gender gap that you were just talking about across the board. And he's trying to make himself more palatable to independent, moderate women saying, Ivanka, right? I think in 2020 and 2016 was kind of that person to him.
Right.
I think people saw her as like, okay, Ivanka's not insane. She'll be the voice of reason around him.
Right.
She won't do the worst.
His like, moral compass.
Yeah. And so they don't have her this time because she's not campaigning with her dad, which
she was on the ground in North Carolina today.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
With disaster relief and whatever she was doing on her phone.
I know.
Yeah,
I can't. She
sucks
in ways I cannot describe. But yeah, I mean, and again, I know the people who are watching this with us right now, especially, all agree with you and I. But if you're someone else, I beg of you, do not fall for this shit of Melania Trump saying, I believe in the women's rights. No, she doesn't. She believes in herself. She is not pro-choice. She is pro-Melania. She does not give a shit about you or anybody else. It is a tradition almost, in especially modern history, for first ladies to be pro-choice. It was George Herbert Walker Bush's wife, Barbara Bush. She was pro-choice. It was the Bush family, I think, that founded Planned Parenthood back in the day. Laura Bush also. I mean, this is not a new thing. And guess what? George Herbert Walker Bush appointed Clarence Thomas to the Supreme Court. I mean, like, this is
that was the nod to that was a to make up for some of their other positions. Right. It was a nod to the Christian religious right, as they were emerging in political power there.
Yeah, and so I beg people to not fall for this. It is bullshit. It is a lie, and I feel like everything we know about Melania and her probably contractual obligations to Donald Trump.
Yes. Like, how much did they pay her? What was it that came out today that her publisher wanted $250,000?
Honey, you should mention this.
Oh, man. What is this?
Right. So she comes out and says that she's going to support the abortion. And then it comes out that, wait, hold on. Then the anti-abortion people, the base, they get all angry about it. But again, they're not trying to dig deeper into MAGA to get more voters. I mean, they are in some ways, I think, with the men. But the pro-life people, they know that they're in the bag anyways. They're trying to get to the moderate people that maybe don't feel very comfortable with that. So the anti-abortion people are all up in arms. But then CNN reaches out to Melania Trump's publisher and asking for an interview. And the publisher wrote back asking for $250,000. Now, obviously, CNN said, go kick rocks.
Right. As they should have. Right.
We don't
the Inquirer.
Right. Exactly. So this story came out today. And then, of course, the publisher comes back and says, no, it was a miscommunication. Just kidding. But we all know that that's a lie.
It's a bowl's full of shit. And the $250,000 was probably what Trump paid her to come out with the book now, because they thought the timing
book
of
she did not write.
Right, a book we already know that. And you're going to make X amount of appearances on my behalf during the month of October, because I don't know when's the last time we saw her.
Oh yeah, she didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything. She showed up at the convention didn't speak though. She just showed up to
and that was that. Stood there.
Right.
Yep.
Because
I think on the last day.
Yeah. Because speaking is extra. So I just cannot with her. I frankly, I don't give a fuck what Melania Trump has to say. I don't give a shit.
She's not a victim.
Relevant. That's right. She's not a victim. She's an enabler. And I don't care. She can go have several seats. I legit do not care what one word that comes out of this woman's mouth, because she could, what do I always say? She could have been freaking milking goats in Slovenia instead of rising to become the first lady, which is an honor in this country, and then have the audacity to complain about it and be miserable. And not to mention all of her other life choices, where I've seen parts of her that I don't ever want to see.
I don't want to see those again.
In this country, and all of that seems to be just fine with the evangelicals and with the Christian right, and the fact that she's an absentee wife and that's some kind of an arranged marriage, and that she sat there and put up with Donald Trump cheating on her repeatedly, especially when she was pregnant. Where are all the fucking family values there? I have no tolerance for it, none. So that is it. I'm not talking about fucking Melania Trump anymore.
Oh, but I would like to watch the video. It's
do
so
it.
Good.
Let's do
it's
it.
So good.
Oh.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
I can't.
What
I can't.
does my
I
can't even
what
do
was
it.
The lighting too. Like what?
It was like a very well. You know what it is. I mean, if you were kind of looking for deeper meaning, it would like lightness and darkness. You know, bad and good. You know, it's just like there's kind of like this weird other subtext to the lighting.
I mean, you're the creative director. I assumed that you would get whatever motif they were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I just can't get past that. I can't stand her. So it doesn't matter what she says. She could have like cured cancer and come out with like a new theory of relativity. And I would have been like, I don't fucking care.
I hope that Laura Benanti makes her way onto Stephen Colbert this week. I don't know if you guys don't know her. She's a very famous theater actress who also does some TV. And she does the Melania Trump impression on Stephen Colbert. And she is so and I would love to see her do a parody of that because
listen, we need it. We need the comic relief because laughter does good like medicine, and we have to laugh to keep us from crying. So there's that.
Well, speaking of funny, I don't know if it's really funny. It's just kind of like, this is happening. Another October surprise, but not maybe
surprise. Listen, I think we're gonna have to cue that up.
There is like an audio function, so maybe I can cue that up.
We're gonna have. I think we should try
the rest of the month for sure.
Yes.
So Mike Lawler, he's a congressman from New York 17.
Yeah.
He's a real SOB, let me tell you. It's in the Hudson Valley. It's a little bit north of New York City. And because of that, we're in the same media market. So I see all his stupid ads. And they're quite racist, I will say, because he's running against Mondaire Jones, who's great. And all of the ads are kind of like making him into this like Black Lives Matter radical, angry black man kind of thing.
Of course.
And which is, what they do.
Yep.
And it came
according to JD Vance, by the way. According to JD Vance, that's part of the 30-year plan. But go ahead.
This man. Anyways,
I know. What
photos show up. This is where the story is just so much bigger than just the blackface is Michael Jackson. Okay. First of all, there's so many things that I could say about that, but I'm not going to because it doesn't feel appropriate. But so there's old photos of him in blackface dressed as Michael Jackson. Okay. But
I have mixed feelings about that, by the way. I don't know, but go ahead.
Okay.
I wasn't initially as outraged when that kind of stuff happened because it's Halloween. You're not doing it like culturally appropriating. You're in a costume, but I think context matters. But nowadays it's kind of like, I don't know.
This was in like 2006. It wasn't like the 80s, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm just kind of like,
I know.
So okay. Part of his Halloween costume when he was a college student, he was in 2006. He had a social gathering. He had darkened his face for this costume. But this is where it gets like weirder. When he was in high school in 2005, his parents allowed him to fly from New York to California to sit through or at least part of the criminal trial of Michael Jackson in the child abuse molestation case, which is just like
not where I saw this going.
Right, I know. That's why I was like reading it. I'm like, this is getting weird.
What is wrong with these people?
So he's like obsessed with Michael Jackson. Like this is kind of where it's coming from. So his parents are letting him do this.
So he's like obsessed with people of color, and yet he's going after Mondaire Jones on this, and it's like. It's just also performative and projection. Like I can't with these guys. All of them. Oh my god.
Well, so they had reported about this, and that he was at Manhattan College when pictures were taken. It says this photos appear to have been taken inside one of the dorms. Here is one of the photos.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Here's one of the photos. But
I mean,
I
don't. They're all
there's
terrible.
a part here somewhere that I missed. It's in one of the other slides where like it said that he had borrowed the bronzer
from a female
girls in the
classmate
dorm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, the whole thing is weird. They're all just weirdos, and
they're weird. This is what I mean. They're just weird. Listen, I have this theory that all the Republicans are like theater rejects. Like they all want to be in the theater program at their high schools, and they weren't allowed in because they're weird and untalented, and so they have all this like angst about it. Seriously, Ted Cruz, okay, went to Yale?
Yeah,
where did he go? Yale, and was in the Crucible, and he was like in all. But I'm just saying, like, I just think that all of them have some pain.
Yes. Yeah, they're rejects of some sort, right? Whether it was theater or like the military. So they, they overcompensate. They overcompensate.
Yes, like Dana Lash, the NRA lady. The
gun lady. I'm well aware. We used to be colleagues.
Was wanted to be an actress. I'm just saying, like there's.
Can I tell you a quick story about Dana Lash?
Please.
I mean, people may not know, but many, many years ago, I used to be on a show on the Blaze in New York called Real News. This was before this was 2014. I was still very much entrenched in that world. I had no idea that Glenn Beck was a batshit crazy liar. And so that's a whole nother lifetime ago. Mm-hmm. But so they brought her on into the Blaze. And people may forget that Glenn Beck was part of the National Review issue where they had like 40 conservatives come out against Donald Trump in 2016. He was, I think he was on the cover actually of National Review. This was before National Review sold out. I was coming out of CNN and Dana Lash was walking in and she had approached me about possibly contributing to their efforts to stop Trump in 2016. And I wanted no parts of her because she was a horrible person and terrible over at the Blaze. And I was like, we're not friends. But I found it very interesting that she had approached me about that in 2016. And I forgot all about that till just now when you brought her name up. I know, I have stories for days. For days about these people and their duplicity and their hypocrisy, which is why I want to see it burn because they're full of shit.
They're all full of shit. I mean, I saw that there was a picture of Lindsey Graham greeting Joe Biden at the airport the other day.
Yeah.
And like, again, they used
to be friends. He was like crying tears over what a great guy Joe Biden was.
The video of him in the car and he's like crying about like you'll never find a better man on planet Earth than Joe Biden. Like it's just, I mean, he was John McCain's best friend.
I'll never understand
or
that.
the other way around. I don't know, but like I just, and then the man passed away and it's like Lindsey Graham, like he just went, he didn't have like anything to ground him anymore.
Right. He found another ass to be a barnacle on and it's Trump's. So
inside joke.
Inside joke. Yes.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Anyway,
that's very good.
Well,
it's the, it's
any final thoughts, Michelle, as we wrap it up today?
I do. I have a few final thoughts. If you have a few moments.
Yeah, of course.
One of them is, I think that a lot of people are coming out with their endorsements right now.
I know where this is going.
Billie Eilish, of course, and
Taylor Swift
used one of her songs, Taylor Swift, Liz Cheney, probably never George Bush, which I think is insane.
I know.
Mitt Romney, maybe, but probably not.
So disappointing. Come on.
I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
I know.
Here's your
if
moment.
not now, then when? Like now or never, people.
Exactly. But there was another very notable person who it probably won't surprise you came out in support of Kamala Harris today, and that was New Jersey's own Bruce Springsteen. Now, Tara, I know that you're a Bon Jovi gal,
I am.
That's okay.
We
love. I'll tell you a little story.
I like his band. I'm a big. I prefer the band.
There were members of his. Well, this is a story for another day. But there was members of his band that played in a concert that I sang at. It was amazing. I'll show you pictures. But anyways. So years ago, I don't even remember when this was. I got invited to the invited dress for Bruce Springsteen's show on Broadway. And if you haven't seen it, I think it's on Netflix or Apple TV or something. Go find it. I really didn't know what to expect going into it. And Broadway has this thing called Invited Dress. And it's like the last dress rehearsal before they start previews, where they have just really, friendly people in the audience to kind of like breathe oxygen into the show.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so there's probably like maybe 100, 200 of us in the theater. And Bruce Springsteen, comes out on stage and I'm like, oh my God. He is one of the most incredible storytellers I have ever witnessed. And I've seen many, many, many in my past life.
Mm-hmm.
His sincerity and artistry and creativity in telling stories about America.
Yeah, that's why he's such a good songwriter.
Yeah, and
somebody else sang them, but he's a great songwriter.
We love the boss. But and the thing about him is he's just so real. And if you can go and watch this, if you haven't seen his show, he talks about how, he's never really done a day's of work, of like labor in his life.
Right.
But he grew up around those people and he knew how to tell their stories.
In blue collar New Jersey. That's right. Down the shore.
Yeah. And he tells the story of how, back in the late 60s, 70s, he had run into the guy from Born on the 4th of July. I can't remember his name. They had run into him and had a conversation with him. And, he had said for whatever reason, he went in to get his physical for the draft and he wasn't chosen to go to Vietnam. And he's like, I'll never understand why somebody else went and I didn't.
Yeah.
And so he's always kind of had that debt of gratitude that he didn't go. And so, I say all that.
And that's what Born in the USA is about, by the way. People like it's not the like rah patriotic song that people use it for. You listen to the lyrics.
Yes,
pretty intense.
It's very sad, and it's because we can get into a whole conversation about Vietnam, but it was a war that was fought by working class people.
That's right.
And he understood that, and he lost friends in that war. And so he loves this country as much as all the rest of us, and I think that's why this endorsement of his is so meaningful. And I think he can say and tell the story of why it's so meaningful, kind of, better than most people. And I'd love to show the video of his endorsement today.
Yeah, we should. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really good. It's really good.
Hi, I'm Bruce Springsteen. Friends, fans, and the press have asked me who I'm supporting in this most important of elections. And with full knowledge that my opinions no more or less important than those of any of my fellow citizens, here's my answer. I'm supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president, and opposing Donald Trump and JD Vance. Here's why. We are shortly coming upon one of the most consequential elections in our nation's history. Perhaps not since the Civil War has this great country felt as politically, spiritually, and emotionally divided as it does then at this moment. It doesn't have to be this way. The common values, the shared stories that make us a great and united nation are waiting to be rediscovered and retold once again. Now that will take time, hard work, intelligence, faith, and women and men with the national good guiding their hearts. America is the most powerful nation on earth, not just because of her overwhelming military strength or economic power, but because of what she stands for, what she means, what she believes in. Freedom, social justice, equal opportunity, the right to be and love who you want. These are the things that make America great. Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime. His disdain for the sanctity of our Constitution, the sanctity of democracy, the sanctity of the rule of law, and the sanctity of the peaceful transfer of power should disqualify him from the office of president ever again. He doesn't understand the meaning of this country, its history, or what it means to be deeply American. On the other hand, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are committed to a vision of this country that respects and includes everyone, regardless of class, religion, race, your political point of view, or sexual identity. And they want to grow our economy in a way that benefits all, not just a few like me on top. That's the vision of America I've been consistently writing about for 55 years. Now, everybody sees things different, and I respect your choice as a fellow citizen. But like you, I've only got one vote, and it's one of the most precious possessions that I have. That's why, come November 5th, I'll be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thanks for listening.
Okay. It's so good. First of all, I love that he's in a diner.
Yeah,
okay, which reminds me somewhere in Jersey. I don't know if he's
right.
Where does he?
Where's he's got great diners?
Yes, we're known for our diners.
Park,
yes,
where he's from, right?
That's where he's from. And so I love that he's in a diner. And Donald Trump should take notes because that's how you use bronzer properly. And he looks fantastic.
He's 75 years old. He just turned 75 last month.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to
rock on. Rock on.
Right. That's right.
The last thing I wanted to say also is a happy belated 100th birthday to Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah. That was
President
Tuesday.
Carter. We love that. And I also would like to say Shana Tova, Happy New Year to all of our Jewish friends and chosen family. I hope you're having a safe and lovely New Year. So
Indeed. And also for those folks that are still suffering from the hurricane, my gosh, like we really didn't get a chance to talk about that, but what's happening in North Carolina and in Tennessee, in those areas, it's heartbreaking. And I hope that folks have the resources. And if you donate to folks to help for relief efforts, please do it through local. I'm a big proponent of the local organizations because they have less bureaucracy and the money goes straight to them. So let's pray for our fellow Americans who are suffering through that tragedy as well. And on that note, we're going to leave you with some Seneca content. We've got some new content coming out, so stay tuned for that in these final weeks. And but we're going to leave you with We Won't Go Back. We'll see you next Thursday.
In July 1848, courageous women came together in Seneca Falls, New York, to start a movement. They dared to fight against treatment as second-class citizens. After decades of struggle, women fought and won the right to vote, to work without discrimination, to control our bodies, to even open bank accounts without the permission of a man. Each one was a triumph against those who believed we didn't deserve them. Well, today, those hard-fought victories are under attack. Donald Trump and his allies are determined to send us back to a time when we had no say, no freedom, no choice.
I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Do we want a future where our daughters have fewer rights than our grandmothers? Where their bodies are state property? Their voices silenced? Their opportunities erased? We say hell no. We won't go back. This November, we must take back what is ours. For ourselves, for our daughters, and for the pioneers of Seneca Falls. It's up to us.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? There has to be some form of punishment.
The choice is in Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Her pick is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
He's affable. He's likable.
He's joyful.
He is a veteran, a hunter, a father.
He is a football coach.
He's a former high school teacher.
This is not a coastal elite guy.
He won in rural Minnesota over and over and over again.
They see people less fortunate as scapegoats and punchlines for their jokes. We see them as neighbors. You have my pledge. As long as I am governor, IVF will continue to be a lifeline of hope for families just like mine. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have 2 beautiful children.
With Tim on our side, we're unstoppable.
One of the most productive governors.
Minnesota today codified abortion rights.
He cut taxes for working families.
Passed universal background checks on guns.
We have universal breakfast and lunches for our children, all the children.
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own health care decisions. This is preaching to the choir, but the choir needs to sing.
From the 6 a.m. practice to the away game pickup, from her first goal to the state finals, from the big wins to the big lessons, we take care of all the little things. We do these little things so our daughters can achieve big things. We do all of this for their future. And this fall, that future is on the line. We have come so far, but we have one big thing left to do for our daughters. Their rights are on the ballot, and we won't go back. Not now, not ever. This fall, we will go for the gold, and we must win for them.
This election, it will come down to the women turning out in the battleground states.
We know that when women show up, we win.
We've got one job to do. We have got to beat Donald Trump and elect the first woman president of the United States.
We have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
It is a brand new race.
It's a moment that I feel like people are energized.
Kamala Harris is bringing that energy.
Women are fed up. This is their lives. This is their body on the line.
Birth control is at stake.
I cannot vote for a man who rolls back women's reproductive rights.
If Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban, but we are not going to let that happen.
Abortion advocates are going to come out even harder for her because they know that she has been their champion in the White House.
The government should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
It was Kamala Harris that was cross-examining the very nominees that became the justices that overturned Roe v. Wade.
Vice President Harris, former prosecutor. Donald Trump, convicted felon.
I will proudly put my record against his.
She has overcome and overperformed and been underestimated at every turn of her career.
She's broken and smashed glass ceiling after glass ceiling.
And for all of those people asking, you know, is this country ready for a woman president? Is this country ready for a black woman president? Well, you better get ready because Madame Vice President is coming your way.